Remember when you were young and everything in life seemed so much more fun and the possibilities seemed endless? Is that still the same for you, or has life become a serious business? Wherever you are, you can change it. What if more magic, fun, and possibilities were available to you right here, right now? Join Laura and Alun in the playground of possibility as they play, laugh, and explore new ways you can use to make your life more fun and to create more of what you desire.
Hello everybody and welcome to Playground of Possibilities with myself, Alan Jones, and my gorgeous co-host, Laura Borland. Hello gorgeous co-host.
Hello lovely Play, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And you know, it's as if I haven't seen you for 10 seconds. It's amazing.
Well, you haven't.
Well, this is true. This is absolutely true. So what are we talking about today, Ms. Borland?
So today we are talking about all aboard the choo-choo train of choice. All of a sudden I had a complete blank. I was like, I completely forget what we were talking about. And so, yeah, we're just talking about remember what it was like when you were young and playing, and the choice of games to play and events seemed totally endless. And what about, oh wow, do you remember when you went to the sweet shop with pocket money? And having a world of choice of the sweeties that you're going to choose to make up your pick and mix bag. It was so exciting. And so when did having choice become a chore? And when did you decide that choice was limited? And how much of your life do you now create from the space of Hobson's choice? In other words, you can choose anything as long as you choose this one thing. And how much and how often do you get so caught up in trying to make the right choice and the wrong choice that you end up not choosing anything at all, which of course is still a choice. So yes. Well, you know, when I first heard that, I was like really annoyed.
Right.
You know, because it's like, wow, so to not choose just a choice.
Yeah.
What? And it was like a head spinner for me. So yeah, choice. What does choice mean to you, Alan?
Do you know, it's changed throughout my life. Choice has changed for me. So if I were to take it back to that, you know, the very thing that we were monkeying around with at the beginning about the going into the sweet shop, for me then choice was fun. It was exciting. It's like whatever sweets I chose to put in my bag, I knew I wouldn't lose out. You know, I never walked away pissed off because I hadn't had enough choice, or you know, it was that. So for me, that was great. And then as I kind of went through life, you know, I tell you, one of the biggest times that choice became a real pisser for me was options. So you know, making your options for your subjects to take as exam subjects at school. And it was just like, and so for me then choice became it. You know, you're locked in. You have no other choice. And it was, you choose this subject. Sorry, go.
Well, it's just really interesting because, you know, as you're saying that, like, and who did that belong to? Because where did we learn the significance and we have to make the right choice?
Yep. Well, it's because at school, isn't it? You know, they say to you, you know, these are the choices that will set your career for the rest of your life. And I kind of, I look at the choices I made, and I took computer studies, which, you know, I really didn't do well at the subject in the way that it was evaluated. And I also took typing, and then I took biology, and I think, well, I don't really remember half the things that we did at biology, so it was just like I do use the typing, I do use computers, but those subjects that I took didn't actually affect my career at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, then it came to, you have to choose a subject, you have to choose this, you have to choose that. So it was a Hobson's choice. You know, you can have any choices as long as you're choosing things. And then as an adult, as you go through life, it's always, you know, quite often, you know, there's this whole concept of you're choosing either or.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. And it's like, even, you know, it's like just thinking about when you were saying about the school, it's like, you know, by the time you get to university, and it's really interesting because it's like I went to university because it was almost expected. I somewhere didn't realise that I had a choice. Actually, looking back, I've had that awareness because, you know, it's like I spent most of my time at university saying most of it was irrelevant. And actually now what I can see is that I'm such a practical learner that sitting in a classroom was just not my best way to learn. But it just didn't occur to me that I could say, I don't choose that. And so, yeah, I wonder how many of us, do things because we feel it's somehow expected by society, our family, our friends, our work colleagues, whatever it is, when actually the truth is there's always a choice.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because my choice, of course, it was the other way around. Nobody in my family went to university. And, if you went to university, you were stuck up, snobby, or had more money than sense.
Are you saying about me?
This is kind of how it was perceived, and so then I felt I had no choice to go to university because obviously I wasn't bright enough. I didn't do A-levels because that's not a choice for me. It's really funny how we from different perspectives we do what we consider or think we are told is the right choice and the choice that's available to you. I could have gone to university, I could have applied for a grant and done extra schooling and all sorts of stuff, but because I wasn't willing to ask a question.
But it's also interesting because I think, it's like there's something that happens, when you were talking about the sweet shop, I'm thinking, wow, there's so many choices I made as a kid and you don't think about, you just think in the moment, will this be fun? It's like, and that's about it. There's no significance, and then you're like, yeah, I'll do it, and then I won't do it. But it's like by the time we become kind of like a teenager, and we're supposed to be more serious and measured about life, then actually it's almost like we can make a choice from the world that people present to us. Because certainly for me at that point, I had no clue that I could create my own reality. No clue.
No, and as you're talking about that, what's really smacked into my awareness was, as a child, you're choosing. Before you start going to school, you are choosing what to play with, choosing how long to play it with. You have a lot. In some ways, you're much more free with the choices that you're choosing, without a whole lot of expectations. But then it gets to a point where you're told what you can choose. You can have this or this, or and so how much are we still stuck in? I can't choose anything till somebody else tells me what my choices are.
It's also interesting when you're saying that, it makes me think that so often it's like when, you think you can only choose what you can see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can't see it, you can't choose it. And it's like, and actually that's one that took me into such a beyond for ages. I was like, okay, so, I choose money. Okay, well, where is it? Or, well, it's not there. And so it's like, but again, it's like that thing where almost, it's funny, isn't it? It's almost like if you go into Argos and it's like, I'm not really sure what that was. Did somebody just poke you in the bum?
I don't do Argos. Actually, that's a lie. We do Argos.
The reason I said Argos, so Argos, for anyone, I don't know, do they have Argos in Canada and the States? I know we have it in the UK, but anyway, Argos is like basically you go in, there's a catalogue, you pick what you want, and they bring it to you from some other place. But it's not like you can see it.
No.
And so you just choose it, and then it comes.
It's a bit like when you go into a restaurant, isn't it? You kind of you look at the menu and it kind of tells you what it what. How often have you done that? Where you've looked at me and goes, oh, that looks like it, or it sounds really nice, and then when it turns up, because we've been basing it on what we think it should look like, or what we think it will taste like, whatever it is, and then it turns up and it's completely different. Because what we've done is we've tried to have all these expectations about how it should show up. So we're choosing it on how we think it should show up, and then when it turns up completely different, we're like, oh, well, that's not what I wanted at all. And we're not trusting our awareness. We're trying to choose from a different space.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking, Bree's taking me into total beyond. I'm like, no, I don't think we do. And I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about.
What? Argos. Wait, you said, do they have Argos in Canada or America?
Oh, I don't think we do. Okay. I was just like, whoa, that doesn't make sense to me.
So,
but it's funny. Sorry, Bree. I was just being a bit slow there. But what I was going to say as well is it's like there's been something I'd been asking for a few weeks, and actually, what then became apparent to me last week was the universe was practically hitting me over the head with it. It was just that the first 5 times it tried to show up in my universe, I was like, I had a point of view that that's not what it was going to look like. Mm-hmm. And so because my point of view was that's not going to look like, so that's what it's not going to look like, I actually couldn't see it. And so it made me wonder, where else am I choosing? And it's there. It's just that I just need to open my eyes and see it.
Yeah, how often does that happen? And because that's so true, isn't it? And how often do we push stuff away because it hasn't shown up the way we had expected it to? I'm choosing. So when you said, so I'm choosing money. What does money look like? What does money feel like? What does money whatever you use to describe what money is for you? Is it fingers on a fingers? Is it fingers on a screen? Let's have fingers on a screen. So if money is fingers on a screen for you, or it could be cash in your hand, or it could be anything. If you're deciding that it is fingers on the screen, let's say, and it turns up as cash in your hand, will you receive it?
Absolutely. But it's funny when you're saying that. I wanted to tell you about my latest version of my idea to rob a bank.
Go for it.
Which basically was, all I had to be able to do was get myself in front of a computer in a bank and press some zeros at the end. Get into my account and press some zeros. And I was like, technically all I would be doing was using my finger on a key. And that would create like a bunch of money.
Well, see, what if you could do that energetically?
I like that.
So,
okay, so let's invite everybody to do that who's listening.
Yeah. What if, so everyone who's listening, if you would like to have a play with that, just energetically push some zeros onto the figures that are in your bank account. Of course, if it's a debit balance, you might not want to do that. If it's a minus figure, if it's like minus £100, you don't want to be adding zeros to that.
No.
So, what if it was, you had, say, £100, $100, or 100 fingers in your bank account, because we're talking fingers on the screen. Yeah. So how many zeros would you like to add to your bank balance? It's like, energetically, are you willing to play with the energy to increase your bank account? So let's get rid of the zero stuff. What would it take? What energy, space, and consciousness can you be to choose to increase the money in your bank account as if by magic, just by using the kind of energy you be? Because we're energetic beings, we're infinite beings that are just energy. And are you willing to live beyond the rules? We played a couple of weeks ago about living beyond the rules. Well, that's cheating for some people. Using energy to create money in your bank balance, that would be cheating for some people. But you don't need to tell everyone.
No. And actually, it's also, I'm listening to you thinking, and if I'd heard you say that a couple of years ago, I'd have been like, you're mental. Well, I know you are mental, but I would feel like you're even more mental.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the what was I going to say? Yeah, one of the access consciousness kind of tools that I use for me is like, just for me, just for fun, never tell anyone, is when you're using stuff that some people just cannot hear, like energetically increase your bank account, or what energy, space, and consciousness can I be, etc., etc., etc. Whatever it is, it's like, you don't have to tell everyone that that's what you're doing, because some people will just look at you and go, you're fucking barking, and and they won't receive it. They absolutely won't receive it.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing where it's like, actually show me a human being and I'll show you somebody who's got everybody's got their own belief systems that are either working or not working for them. So it's just like, actually, it's almost kind of like, if it's a choice that you're making that actually feels light, that feels fun, that feels expansive, and it's working for you. Yeah.
What works for you? So why don't we pick this up after the break? So I'm just reading what the Carol's writing in the chat room about. I think I'm at the point where a lot of people think I'm barking mad, and you know what? Let's be barking mad together, because why not? It's all a bit of fun. So we're gonna go to break and pick up on the fingers on the screen and being barking mad after these adverts. So we'll speak to you shortly.
Were you told as a child to grow up, Act your age and stop being childish. And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 4433-0001-0625. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also email us questions or comments by sending emails to playgroundofpossibilities@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hi and welcome back to the Playground of Possibilities with myself, Laura, and my lovely playmate, Alun. And actually, if anybody's listening and they are thinking that they would like to come into the chat room and they're not so sure how to do that, you can basically, if you're beside a computer, you can go to a2zen.fm/page/live chat, or just go to a2zen.fm and click chat on the blue bar. So thank you, Bree, for letting me know that. And there's a question actually in the chat room. Is choice something that we make or something that we be? And when we make a choice, we choose, or are we chosen? What do you think about that, Alun?
It's an interesting couple of questions. That's from Michaela. She's messaged us through Facebook as well. So thank you, Michaela, for that. Is choice something we make or something that we be? Well, it depends on your point of view, doesn't it? I think it's like, because it is just like, do you live the question, or do you ask a question? And how often do we get caught up in asking the right question? And what actually? For me, it's like, what actually is questions? Like, is it just an energy? Are you always living in questions such that you be the question, that you don't always even need to ask the question? How often, Laura, have you thought about asking a question, and before you've even managed to phrase the question, you get the awareness?
Absolutely. And it's actually there's some areas of my life where it's beginning to happen quite magically in a way that actually really tickles me. And rather than, I'd almost, that thing about just for me, just for fun, not for sharing, rather than go and say to the person, I just go, what would it take for more of that to show up? Because it's just, it's fun. There was something I was going to say that I've completely forgotten, so I'm not really sure why I'm telling you that, because it's like, my head went somewhere else.
Pick me.
I tell you where it went. It actually, in terms of kind of like, even choosing to ask a question, it's like, it took me some time to truly be able to get the energy of asking a question, because actually it was doing it from a place of, I need to get this right, and so it was almost like the need to get it right was just being a bit more sneaky. than truly just choosing. Like, so to truly choose, wow, it's like about not being in conclusion and just kind of like, in these 10 seconds, what could I choose?
Absolutely. So, for me, it is that I have to phrase the question right in order to know what's available, so I can make the choice. And I think it is about, are you choosing from what's considered to be reality, which is limited choice, or are you choosing from being an infinite being? And I know that some people may find that a struggle to kind of get their head around. And do you know what? That's okay. But like you, Laura, I'm just getting to the point now where I'm starting to get what infinite choice and infinite being actually is. It's like, 10-second increments. I can choose this, and you know what? I can choose again. And there may well be outcomes from my choices. But what I find is when you truly choose something, you immediately start to get that feel for what that will create. So,
and it's funny you're saying that, because actually there's something around so often, because obviously the program's called the choo-choose train of choice, and I'm like thinking, it's like, so I love the train that goes from London to Glasgow that only stops at Preston. And you would not believe the amount of times that people get on that train that wanted to stop somewhere else. But anyway, but actually it's like so often we make a choice and then we go on a train that doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we come up with these justifications and the reasons. It's like, well, I can't not choose that because of that, and I can't not choose that because of that, and I've been there and I've done it. And actually just even that awareness of knowing, okay, it's just a choice. And it actually even maybe a choice, because a choice can be something as simple as, okay, so in these 10 seconds, I'm just going to choose to be kind. In these 10 seconds, I'm just going to choose, because I'm looking at lovely trees outside, I'm just going to look at the trees. But we're in our do-do heads. It's like we're thinking there's always something to figure out, and there's just not.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, you and I were saying before the radio show, something that I'm really getting awareness of at the moment is nothing really means anything. We're energetic beings.
Nothing really matters.
Absolutely.
Who sang that? Was it Queen?
It was.
Yeah. Anyway, right, sorry.
Nothing really matters. Anyway, Bohemian Rhapsody that was. So yeah, aren't we awesome? We should start our own pop group.
Maybe not.
So Carol's asking a question. Said nothing really means anything. Why do we choose anything? Why not? Because for the fun of it, absolutely. Because it's like, for me, it's like, does anything really matter if we are just a bunch of vibrating molecules that our infinite being is just infinite energy, infinite. It's not just focused on this kind of tiny little planet and us tiny little people. And the more meaning we attach to choices, I find, the more difficult they become.
Oh yeah, because it's like the whole paralysis, and that's the no choice universe.
Yeah.
In terms of so people who are, it'll be the same for you. It's like, I'll be working with people and it's like, and actually they're really, really miserable, but they believe that they cannot choose anything different because of whatever reason.
Yeah, I can't choose that because my family, I can't choose that because I haven't got the money, I can't choose that because I don't live in that country, and every time we say I can't choose that because, that's an excuse, where it's an excuse we're using to keep ourselves stuck in a space of no choice. Because even on that train that only stops at Preston, you still have choice. You could pull the little cord and stop the train.
That's very true. I did in fact contemplate jumping out the train window when it stopped at Ballon one time from Gatwick. I was like, I want off here. I didn't. But it's like just reading Kara's questions. It's like so why do we choose anything? And actually,
why not?
How many of us are actually truly consciously choosing?
Yeah, absolutely. How many of us are choosing to try and fit in with what reality is considered to be choice, or fit in with what we think that we should be doing, or choosing because, you know, we're so ingrained into choosing to live, and are we choosing to live, or are we going, because I think a lot of the time, aren't we choosing just to survive rather than just, what if every choice is about being fun, phenomenal and rewarding? What if every choice is about creating more? What if every choice is just about doing it for the sheer hell of it? No matter what that choice is.
Because
no matter what we're choosing,
again.
how much... Yeah, absolutely, you can choose again. And how much in allowance are we of the choices that we've made in the past or other people have made? You know, because I think, you know, I look at some of the choices I've made in the past and I think, you know, I could get really caught up in all of the meaning and significance about, oh my God, that was such a really dreadful choice and I wish I'd never chosen that. There's no fucking point. You know, I chose it. It happened. And going back and beating myself up and judging myself for it.
And also there's something in there about, you know, sometimes it's like, so people make a choice and then it's not their best choice and they get stuck in that choice and so they live in the past. And then, you know, the story about, well, you know, random, I'm not really sure why I'm thinking this, but, you know, when someone kind of like, you know, if they have like a bad divorce and they're like, I'm never going to kind of like, you know, I'm never going to be with somebody again or whatever, and you're like, wow, that's like totally creating your present and your future from your past. And that's totally just a choice. And it's like, and actually I had a conversation with somebody last week who was telling me that they weren't confident, and I was like, really? And actually the point we got to was, it's like, do you have access to every energy that has ever existed? And it's not outside of you, it's inside of you. And actually you might not have it might not be that you've plugged that bit in yet, but it's there, and it's there waiting for you to choose it. And you can choose it at any point, and it's not something outside you that you have to go and find and figure out.
That is such a great metaphor. That totally is, because it's like, you know, how many energies and things are available to us that we just either not willing to be aware of or not willing to choose, or told that, you know, whatever reason we're not choosing them. And how many energies are we still continuing to stay connected to that if we were to let go of them would allow us more space to choose something different?
Absolutely. And there's also something in that where that actually, so for me, something that really helped is that when I choose something, I know that I just don't know how or when, because it took me back, you know, it's like, well, you know, but how am I going to do that, and when's it going to show up? And it's like, so actually I am choosing something and I know that. And actually the how and the when is part of the fun of the adventure. It's just that somewhere along the line we forgot it was an adventure.
Absolutely. I think that's so true. And I think, you know, are we willing to make the choice no matter how crazy it appears to us and how crazy it may appear to somebody else? No matter how it shows up. You know, how much fun can you have? You know, as a child, you know, when I used to have Lego and I would just build something just because it was fun to build it. Yeah. So I didn't really care that, you know, it didn't look like whatever it's supposed to look like. It was my spaceship, and that's what my spaceship was going to look like, and that was absolutely a spaceship. And the fact that it, you know, logically it probably would have never have taken off, and it would have, you know, leaked and all that kind of stuff. In my imagination and my creativity, it wouldn't have. It would have totally worked, and it absolutely did.
and then the kids smash it down, and you're like, I spent an hour making that for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, haha. Make it again.
So, yeah, Keisha's just...
everywhere that we make our choices so significant, and then we can't choose again because we're like, but it's like, you know, this relationship, I was staying in this relationship, I will make this work.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that, you understand?
It is. It's like you've made your bed, you can lie on it, you've made your choice.
God,
and now, you've made your choice. And so that, for me, that whole thing around, one of the things that really kind of makes me laugh at that you've made your bed, kind of you've made your choice, now you lie in it. I think, well, actually, do you know what? I don't. I can choose to sleep on the couch, I can choose to sleep in a different bed, I can choose to sleep on the floor, I can buy a new bed, I can sleep on a park bench, I can sleep in the back garden, I can sleep in a friend's house, I can sleep in a hotel. You know, I don't have to sleep in the same bed that I've just chosen.
No.
I can sleep anywhere the hell I like, and with whom?
So, on that note, let's go to break. And if anyone's got any questions that they would like us to play with, when we come back after the break, if you put it in the chat room, that would be great, because I find it really hard to follow the chat and the talk at the same time. So when we come back, we'll continue talking about choice and being aboard the choo-choo train of choice. So thanks, guys. Off to a break.
Were you told as a child to grow up, act your age, and stop being childish? And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 4433-0001-0625. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also email us questions or comments by sending emails to playgroundofpossibilities@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hey everybody, this is Alun and Laura on the Playground of Possibilities radio show. It could be any radio show then, because I almost forgot what I'd been choosing. So there you go. How's it get any better than that? Just going to pick up a couple of questions from the chat room, which are were really, I just think are really great. So, Michaela's talking about what do we use, the same thing to create so-called positive choices, and how do we, where are we? So what's the mechanism behind funny choices that we make? And just before that, Keisha actually asked, or was talking about, truly being and living as the question, are we letting go of the conclusionary functioning? And I think that's the thing. It's like, when we choose from conclusion, are we really choosing from infinite possibility?
Yes. We're choosing one option in a number of the infinite possibilities.
Exactly.
It's just that we don't see that there are any other possibilities, and that's the trick.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you choose to go into a sweet shop, let's go back to that analogy right at the very beginning. If you choose to go into a sweet shop because you know that you want to go and get yourself some sweeties, but also you want to buy some bread, but you're standing in the sweet shop going, but they haven't got any, therefore you conclude, well, I can't have any bread then. But if you walk out the sweet shop, right next door is the baker's. Do you see what I mean? So when you're standing looking, let's say your street is the infinite choice. The more you can, I know, we conclude that we go into one shop, and therefore that's our universe. So which shop have you decided is your reality, that is the only possibilities available for you? from which you can choose, whereas if you were just to backtrack and walk out the door again, you can see lots of other different shops to go to.
It's like demanding steak in a vegetarian restaurant. It's never happening.
Yeah, that is true. However, if you go to a meat restaurant, you can demand vegetarian food. And the reason I know that is because I used to be vegetarian. And that was just a choice. And not anymore. But yeah, it's just like, so it is actually that thing. When we live in conclusion, we limit the choices that are available to us.
And actually, there's something there about choice in terms of like, so when we choose something, and then in choosing it, it's like, you know, that we think it defines us. You know, so it's like, I choose to be kind. Okay, so then it's like that week where I'm like, oh, so then I'm unwilling to choose to be unkind.
Yeah.
And so then that's where we begin to really kind of like, you know, imprison ourselves, because, or even with other people, oh, they're a really nice person, so then you can't choose to see
everything.
Yeah, and so there's something there about, you know, so when, because it's like, who would be, you know, it's like that that at one point it's like someone's like, but who would I be without all that? And yeah, absolutely.
It's the definitions, isn't it? So what definitions are we using to create the choice and no choice that we're choosing? So and also, what are you unwilling to choose? What are you unwilling to choose that if you would be willing to choose it, would give you infinite choice?
So Alan, what are you unwilling to choose that if you were willing to choose it would give you infinite choice?
Do you know, this is a bit of a... so it's like... you are a fucker. I'm going to give you... no, I'm not going to do a story, but it's like... this one is possibly going to push some buttons in some people. So it's just like this is where the energy's going. What am I unwilling to choose? I'm unwilling to choose to be a paedophile. Right? But then, how many people might describe me as that because I have a preference for men? So there's two strands coming from this. So some people would say to me, oh, well, you're just a pedo because you're gay. Right. Interesting choice, interesting point of view, and yeah, I'll receive that because I know that's not my choice. But when I say, what are you unwilling to choose, it doesn't mean to say that if you're willing to choose something, you will actually choose it.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because that for me was like a, huh?
Yeah, my mind's just gone completely blank on it. It's just like, so just because you're willing to choose something, because if consciousness is everything and judge is nothing, I'm not saying everyone should go out and choose to be a paedophile. That's not what I'm actually saying here. Let's just be, you know, you don't necessarily have to choose something that you don't want. You just have to be willing to choose it. Because if you're not willing to choose it, you're shutting down. Not only are you shutting down your willingness to choose it, you're shutting down your receiving from that, and also receiving from anyone else who would choose it.
So this is a really silly example, but it was one that really tickled me. So I have a friend, and she was absolutely ranting about hating pyramids marketing.
Right.
Oh, these people keep phoning me up, and they've got all this stuff about pyramid marketing and blah, 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 and I really hate it. And it's like, and I started laughing. And I was like, wow, so your point of view is that you hate pyramid marketing and you wouldn't choose it. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's why it has to keep coming up, because it's like so you can tell yourself you're not going to choose it. And so I think the reason I said that was in relation to kind of like Ellen or something. Why would I choose something I don't want? Because it's like, for me, it's like, honestly, I sat with that for months. Why would I choose something I don't want? Why would I choose something I don't want? But actually, it's that thing where it's like, if we have no point of view about it, it's just like it'll pass through our universe. But if we have a point of view about it, it'll stick in our universe.
Absolutely. And I wonder how often things keep appearing for us when we're unwilling to choose it, just to prove to ourselves that we're not choosing it.
Exactly.
So let's say I'm not going to choose to be an evil person or a bad person. What an interesting point of view that is. Because, if you're... So what is evil? what is evil and what is bad? There are some people who would look at Margaret Thatcher and say she was an evil witch. No, I wouldn't say she was an evil witch. I don't necessarily agree with her politics.
I don't think we should disrespect witches.
No, absolutely. So it's like, and what if that's just an interesting point of view? What if somebody choosing isn't, so like, there's a kid about to run into a road and you grab that child and fling them back and they actually they fall into a wall. Anybody watching you not seeing the car that's coming that was about to hit that child may look at you and go, you're a really bad person. I would never choose to do that to a child. And you're standing there going, I've just saved that child's life. But the point of view is you're an evil, bad person because you kind of abused that child.
Which is interesting because it's all about the thing about what's required. So what's required here, and actually it's like the weird, so the thing for me that I really realised, it's like when I was first managing staff was that, so my point of view was I was kind and I was nice and I was supportive, and actually, but what I then realised was it's like sometimes being unkind was actually the kindness. It was the greatest kindness. Yeah. Because otherwise it was just colluding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it is like, are you willing to appear to be evil, or are you willing to appear to other people? Are you willing to receive other people's points of view about what you're choosing? And so Michaela's put here, it gets easier for me not to have a point of view than being willing to choose it. Is there a way I can overcome that? What would you say to that, Laura?
I'm not sure I understand the first part of the question. I think the part that really jumped out for me in that was it's like, is there any way I can overcome that? I'm like, so what if there's nothing to overcome? Because for me it's like that thing where I would be like, oh, I've got this problem to overcome. So then the problem has to exist so that I can overcome it. And so what if it's just kind of like, oh well, I've made some choices and now I'd like to make some different choices. So overcome for me talks about fixing.
Yeah, it's like guilt.
Yeah, and I don't. My point of view, and it's taken me. My point of view is just like that. Actually, there's nothing for us to fix, and it's like it just goes so against what we're told in this reality.
Absolutely. Keisha's just put, I don't know if you saw that, says, isn't it funny how we identify being willing to do or choose something as we would automatically do or choose that thing? Yet the willingness is the key. And I think that's the thing. Just because you are willing, I am willing to pull a child out the road and be seen as being evil for doing it. I'm willing to be seen as the horrible man who kind of was bluntly direct with people because I knew I had the awareness that actually it would create more for everyone. I am willing to choose to, create my business in ways that are so very different to how I've ever created it before and receive the judgment from other people.
But isn't it funny? Because here's the thing, it's like actually, so we have, it's like whatever other people think about us or don't think about us or judges or don't judge us for it, it's like what's really funny is like, so we're like, oh, I can't choose that because they're going to judge me. People judge us anyway, and I think, there's something quite liberating when you're like, wow, so it's like, what if I could I say to people, even if you just begin to ask yourself the question, so if I was truly choosing for me here, what would I choose? And even if you don't choose it, just to have an awareness means that actually perhaps next time you're like, okay, maybe you'll ask yourself the question 10 times and then you'll be like, actually I'm going to choose this.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's you just keep playing with it. Just keep playing with it without any self-judgment.
Yeah, imagine no self-judgment.
And that's just a choice, isn't it, a lot of the time? But again, how many choices do we make, or we think we make, are actually other people's choices, or we're picking up what other people think we should choose, or what other people are choosing, and we don't even realise that what we're choosing is actually not even our choice, which is why it can end up being so funky.
Funky, I like that word.
Funky choices.
What I was going to say is it's like actually we're just about to head to a break, but see when we come back it's like if there's any, what we're going to do is we're kind of like going to pull together the discussion we've been having and actually just come up with some tools that we can all kind of like play with, because it feels like this is like been a massive topic. We could talk about so much more stuff here, but just so it's like to take it from kind of like, isn't this a really nice and interesting conversation, to, hey, let's have some tools that we can begin to play with. So if we go to break, and we'll see you after the break.
Were you told as a child to grow up, act your age, and stop being childish? And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour, and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator, to schedule a private session, or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 4433-0001-0625. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also email us questions or comments by sending emails to playgroundofpossibilities@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hi, and welcome back to the final section of our program today, where we're talking about choice. And Alan, in the break, I really loved that. What if choice is just following the energy of what feels light?
Because when you be the energy, you don't need to ask a question. And you get out of the whole meaning and significance about choice, and you just go with it. So it's a bit like you get in the river at the top. Let's say you what's the famous river? Let's talk about, I don't know, any river, the Thames. Let's say you get in the Thames at one end, and then you follow it. Yeah, absolutely. You can die. This is let's choice and die. You jump in the river, and you just know that the river is going somewhere, and you can go with the flow of the river. You can paddle as fast as you like. You can even get out if that's what works for you.
And it's funny, that reminds me of, like, there's a thing that, Abraham Hicks, like, they're so funny when they're like upstream and downstream thoughts, and actually it's like when we're choosing against ourselves, it generally feels like really hard work in upstream.
Yes, this is very true. Yeah, they do talk about that, and for them it's like you're paddling really, really hard to try and get somewhere, and often you end up just staying in the same place you are now.
And the madness is there's nowhere to go. That's the madness. There's nowhere to go. No. It's like the illusion.
And so for me, we are very cute and not bright sometimes.
No, I know.
And I think so for me, the whole upstream downstream, is this an upstream thought or downstream thought, is very similar to the kind of the Access Consciousness tool, which is the light and heavy. Does this feel light for me, or does it feel heavy? Does it feel contracting? Does it feel expanding? That's kind of how I tend to work with that. Light and heavy used to really confuse me. So for me, it's like, does it feel like my world is expanding when I think about choosing something, or does it feel like it's contracting in, and there's a pressure on me? So, yeah, if I choose this, does this feel light? Does this feel heavy? And I always follow the light.
A question I really like is, for me, is I'll say, I completely went blank. I chose silence. No, so quite often in business, and this has actually really helped me in business. It's like, so if it wasn't about the money, would I choose? And instantly I'll be like, yes or no. And it's just been really, really, and so it's given me more clarity around kind of like, oh wow, okay, no, that doesn't feel. So I've been able to say no to some things that I'm just like, this doesn't work. And so it's almost just like, it's that is something that takes me outside, beyond my kind of like current reality to another space, if you like, to just kind of like get a different awareness.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely, for me that works as well, especially when I'm looking at something and saying, okay, it is, if money wasn't an issue, would I choose that? And also another of the Access consciousness tools that I really like is the, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? If I choose this, what will my life be like? If I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? And if you're acting from the kingdom of we, it can be, if I choose this, what will the world be like? If I don't choose this, what will the world be like in 5 years? And because it's so far beyond what our kind of conscious mind can actually comprehend, you can get a much better feeling of the light and the heavy.
Absolutely. And when you were saying that, and me and Keisha's saying, it's like we are so much space right now, and I was like thinking, like, how about a radio show where we just have, like, I don't know, 3 minutes 28 seconds of silence? I'm joking, but let's just be with the energy. No, what I was actually going to say is, and actually I'm really grateful for the choice that we made to kind of like create this radio show around the playground of possibilities.
Yes, me too.
And just kind of like, just the. Because I think when you choose, it's like you can have the awareness of like the light and heavy, but actually how that shows up, what that looks like, that's all part of the adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I am so glad that we chose to do this. It did feel light right from the very beginning. So, every week it feels light, and every week when we choose our topics and our guests and our people who come to, it is just so much fun for me. It's fun, phenomenal, and rewarding. And that's why I'll continue choosing it as long as it is.
So any last questions that you would give? I know, Keisha, I love that you come onto the chat room every week. It's like it makes me smile when I see you. I've no idea. I'm just like, so it's just thank you for being here with us. I'm really grateful that you choose that. And what would it take for more people to choose that? What would it take to have like a really amazingly awesome, yummy, juicy, delicious conversation about, I don't know, it's like that's something that would be a really cool contribution to us all.
How much fun can we have with people choosing to come and join the conversation? And because everyone who does come and adds their energy to the call, it just kind of expands it for everyone. It's like we have more fun. We have so much more expansion when people come with their questions. So get people to come along and join us. Come and play in the playground with me and Laura.
So tell me, lovely playmate, what's our topic for next week?
Fuck.
Oh, don't tell me you've forgotten.
Nope. Stuck. Absolutely.
I thought I heard something completely different. Okay.
Nope, it wasn't the fuck word. It was. We could call it fuck, I'm stuck, but stuck. We're just leaving it at that. Stuck. Sticky glue. Let's go with that. So that'll be our show for next week. And
I don't know, Keisha.
Fuck, we're stuck. Stuck, we're fucked. Sorry, I must stop saying the F word. I'm going to get into trouble. Yes, that's it. We've got 30 seconds, so I haven't got time to talk about everything, but just very, very quickly, Margaret Braunack, who was on our show last week, is going to be in Watkins Bookshop in London, which is in Cecil Court, West London, not far from Charing Cross. And she's going to be signing copies of her book, the whatever it's called. What's it called? Having a cake and eating it too. So we'll see you next week for Stuck.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alan Jones. We hope you enjoyed playing with us today and that you'll come play with us next Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm. Until then, what would it take for you to enjoy playing with choices and possibilities to create more fun, more magic, and more of everything you